God created everything, so who created God?
Well, the question is invalid. When people ask this question, it's like a valid question. I can ask the question, can God cease to exist? Of course not. It's contradictory. It's like me saying, how many days in a week? Yes or no? Yes or no? It's not a yes or no question. I have to ask how many days of a week? 7. So the point is, the question is invalid. Just because somebody asks this question doesn't mean it's a valid question. Because what we say is we see cause and effect within our universe. It requires a designer. To come and say who created that designer is you haven't understood who the designer is. It goes back to the issue of the necessary being. What's the attribute? It's independent. It is self-sufficient. It is necessary. If you acknowledge these attributes, these 3 things, yeah, you need to acknowledge that the question of who created God, can God make a rock so big he can't live, can God cease to exist, are questions that are not valid. It doesn't exist. The question you're asking, there's no such thing. Because if there was a God that created him, then he becomes dependent now. He's not self-sufficient anymore. So what we say is that this creator, as long as this necessary being is independent, is self-sufficient, is necessary, everything stops there.
I believe in God. So scientists couldn't figure it out, but you could. Is that right?
It's not that I could. We use our logic. We use our brain. The science deals with the 5 senses, what it can see, empiricism. So what we say is very simple. There are scientists who believe in things. If you're talking about, for example, I don't see God, that's why, I don't believe in it. It's not something, science doesn't talk about the supernatural. It stops the physical. But we know, for example, scientists have discovered recently dark matter. Dark matter is something they cannot see, they cannot touch, they cannot feel, they cannot smell, they cannot hear. So the same thing with God. Can you see God? No. Can you touch God? No. Can you smell God? No. Can you hear God? No. Can you see God? No. But you reject He exists. But the same thing with dark matter, same thing, but you say no, dark matter exists. What kind of contradiction is this? First, God doesn't exist because I can't sense, touch, feel, but dark matter, contradiction. Why do you have double standards? This is the issue. As a scientist, it's not something I discovered new. I use my logical reasoning and rationality to come to simple conclusions.
Atheists watch